which gets a combined 26 miles per gallon. And over here we have an 8-speed that gets a combined 25 miles per gallon. Hey, I'm Jonathan Sewell Sales at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise. And behind me here I have two beautiful 22 vehicles, a 22 Lincoln Corsair and a 22 Mazda CX-5. And we're gonna try to make this quick, but do a quick comparison between sport, driving, and luxurious. So let's jump in.
More car vids. More car vids.
Let's get started up front on this Lincoln Corsair. And so what you'll notice up front is their signature, Lincoln signature grille. So you actually have the Lincoln star in that design. Of course, this brand, Lincoln Motor Company, has just celebrated their 100 years. And Mazda, of course, celebrated their 100 years. So these brands have been around for a long time. And they've kind of taken different paths, though, and we'll go over that as we jump in further here. Of course, a couple of things to mention is the Lincoln Embrace and Lincoln Approach. So as you approach this vehicle, and it's unlocked, the keys inside, but this LED strip here will light up. Also, you can see that you do have your turn signal or parking light there as well. No fog lights, which is, an extended bumper there. A little bit of cladding with a little bit of chrome down here. And of course, Lincoln has chosen as well to have their radar sensor right there in the middle, and kind of the same locale as what we saw on the CX-50. And this is, I should preface by saying that this is a standard model. So the MSRP is just over 40. And it does what we refer to as a 101A package. So it does have a convenience package which upgrades a few things, and we'll talk about that as we go around. The Corsair, of course, well, didn't mean that intentionally or a pun, but Corsair means course. And so as you look at other Lincoln names such as Aviator, Navigator, this Corsair is the course or the path that you choose. And you can tell by looking at the side here that this is very reminiscent of the new styling with Lincoln. So you have the black pillars here, and kind of gives that impression of a floating roof. And this vehicle specifically follows a lot of design cues of the Aviator that returned in 2020 after almost a 15-year hiatus. So as we go around, this has your 18-inch alloy wheels. And they are painted but machined as well with that kind of dark gray accents, and does have Michelin tires on it. And you can see very sleek and minimal design. Of course, you have the Lincoln Star, but you have your actual naming here on the side and a couple of reflectors or a reflector there. And as we go around, you are outlined in chrome and have your chrome crossbars. Roof rails up top. And this sloping roof here, as it gets smaller, is designed to give it that appearance of moving, or as you can see those body lines as well, that kind of motion or in flight as you're choosing that course. You also tie in with the black mirror caps. Of course, these will have your blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic on those as well. Lincoln has chosen a Capless Fuel, so much like some of our Mazdas, this would lock when the car is locked, or you can open it when the car is unlocked, but no clicking or unscrewing there of a gas cap. Now this rear end is pretty unique to the Lincoln lineup, and so you can see part of this styling, it actually wraps around the side as you go around here, instead of trying to be cut out. It really hugs around, and then you have your brake lights, rear reverse lights up here in this nice sleek lights up all the way across, and then of course you have Lincoln back here on the back, but no real emblems or anything else on the back other than that Lincoln name. Your dual exhaust right here, and also designed in the rear bumper are lights as well, not just reflectors. And the reason for that is some laws in some areas require when the lift gate is up to still have rear lights for hazards and safety. So as this wraparound design is, you have to put those lights there for better visibility at night if you were getting something out of the back. So that's pretty neat. And again, these, you can see the little oval shaped on the dual exhaust there. And this one, as we'll talk about in just a minute, is a turbo. So we have some other performance add-ons for this as well. Now this is a 60-40 split back here. As far as cargo, these two are very comparable in cargo. This one is actually, as you can tell just by looking, a little bit smaller than what's available on the CX-5. So this is only 27.6, and so about 3 cubic feet less than the CX-5. You do have some upgraded amenities, kind of a push button release. As you see, those could fold down, and then you can do both sides as well. And so from the rear, you could do a easy, quick loading of cargo. You also have this 12-volt charger back here, so anything else. And of course, your temporary spare back here, which has now become an option with Lincoln, so you have to request this when ordering. Do like this level load floor here, and then everything's hidden right here to keep all of your belongings free of grease or anything like that. And of course, how this seals, you've got the big gasket all the way around, and as we've talked about, this power lift gate here, so everything's real clean back here because of that wraparound design. Let's go ahead and shut this here. And you do have some different sounds, as we'll talk about here in just a minute, specifically when we go inside. And you can see the shark fin antenna up top is also black, so just a different design. One thing I didn't talk about yet is the sensors back here, the parking aid. So that's something that Lincoln is uses more. And that also ties in with some of your safety features and the backup camera, these sensors around. So we don't have those up front on this model because it is a standard. However, other models, as you upgrade to a reserve and things like that, would have those. So let's, before we jump underneath and talk about that, let's compare it to the CX-5. All right, and we'll start up front as well. And I'm gonna try to be quick on the CX-5 just for overall video length, because I know that I've done several videos on this specific vehicle, but also other premiums and things like that. But just to point out a couple of differences, of course, the Mazda on the CX-5 has chosen to have their big radar right up here, a little bit higher and housed in that emblem. Of course, the 22 saw a refresh with this signature wing. Is going from wide to thin and a more rugged looking grille available. Also, we as well went to a longer front bumper with Mazda and removed the available fog lights on this Premium Plus, but also the Grand Touring and higher, no more fog lights. We did see some LED accents available with these L shapes here, and similar projector beam headlights, which I'll touch on more on the Corsair. I forgot to come back and circle back around to those. As you go around the side, this Premium and higher here has 19-inch wheels. So a new design, painted black with some machined accents there, and color keyed mirror caps, as well as the blind spot monitor with rear cross traffic. Did not talk much about the keyless entry on the Corsair. We'll pick that up when we go inside, but this one has your advanced keyless through that button there. Also, when we talk about exterior dimensions, these are about the same length, within an inch, and the Corsair is actually a little bit wider by a couple inches, and as you can kind of tell with that sloping roof design more, the CX-5 is actually a little bit higher. Of course, you have a locking gas door here that you would have to release from inside. Then here's that cutout design of the rear liftgate here. And how they've designed that is, you can see your tail lights are still visible here. So if you were in an emergency situation and you were getting something out of the back on the side of the road, you would still have rear lights here. And much to our dismay, these are just reflectors. However, they did slim them down a little bit, so it's not as big and bulky as it was in previous generations. We also have the dual exhaust here coming from our Skyactiv G, but it's more of a round outlet instead of that oval size, and a little bit different breathing and sound. Then, of course, some of those upgrades that we've seen, you have a 40-20-40 split, and you have handles to release instead of push buttons. And then you have the new option of a 2-tiered system with your spare down there. And of course, you have Bose on the Premium Plus, so you can be a complete flush for a seat or drop it down and have a little bit more cargo. With this all the way down is where you have that about 3 foot more cargo with these seats up, and overall about 2 or 3 feet of total cargo with the it's actually under 2 feet with those seats folded down. So let's go back around here. Of course, the styling, we do have a little bit of chrome, but with the black cladding, it's going to be more just body color accents all the way around instead of as much chrome as we see on the Corsair. All right, now we can jump under the hoods of both and compare those. I did want to show this as we're comparing the Lincoln Luxury. You actually no longer have a latch on the hood up front. You just pop this twice, and as you do it the first time, it frees up the hood as far as pops it up, and the second time it actually frees it up from the latch. So you don't have to search for a little lever under here. You can just lift it up. And of course, it's got hood props on the Lincoln, which is real convenient. So again, as their grill's designed, it's a double latch system here, so you don't have to fumble around or stick your fingers through the grill to unlock it. So very convenient there, especially if you're just wanting to take a quick glance at these clear fluid containers and make sure that everything's the way that it's supposed to be. Now, as you see, this big air box back here is leading down into the turbo portions, which are actually, I believe, located, see where that air goes, located underneath all of this apparatus here. So it's kind of hard to see that. I know we're familiar more with the Mazda layout, but this is a 2-liter engine, which is the standard engine on the Corsair, and because it's turbocharged, it gets 250 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. So a lot of good power and takeoff, especially in this size of vehicle. And this is the standard engine. So several years ago, about the turn of the century or the millennia, Ford really wanted to get better fuel economy and went to their EcoBoost design or turbo charged engines, and this is the result of that. So a 2-liter with 250 horsepower on 87 octane. In years past, all the Lincolns would have to be ran on premium, but now every EcoBoost is recommended on just turbocharged. Now, a couple other things that you'll notice, this instead of being inside of the pillars, kind of the same design as the rear, this actually hugs over top here. So you have this gasket going around the front. Of course, your big mat right here to keep the sound down. And also you can see some of this other sound deadening material in the pillars here, and going around you can see that foam back there as well that's wrapped up. And also, of course, you know, this felt material all the way around. So they really want it to be as quiet as possible when you're purchasing this class of vehicle. So they have extra material shoved in where necessary, and although sometimes it's not that pretty, it gets the job done. So let's step next door here to the Mazda. And I've already opened this one because, you know, from watching my videos, I hate fooling with this thing. Getting it out is really the hard part. But this is your Skyactiv G. It's a 2.5 liter, which is standard, and gets a 187 horsepower, 186 foot-pounds of torque. And we're familiar with this engine compartment as well. You do have an air box feeding up front, and, you know, ABS, clear fluids, brake fluid, windshield washer, things like that. So everything's right here and somewhat visible. Now, of course, if this was a turbo, it'd be housed back here in the back. And I did not mention, but this is a 6-speed automatic transmission paired with this, which gets a combined 26 miles per gallon. And over here, we have an 8-speed that gets a combined 25 miles per gallon. So this is a front-wheel drive model, and although it's a smaller engine, that turbocharge does basically penalize you 1 mile per gallon. But of course, you want the get up and go. And I did not compare weight on these, but I'll try to put that down here in the captions here, because I don't recall which one's heavier. If I had to guess, I would say this one, although this one is all-wheel drive as well and still gets a mile per gallon better. So now's the fun part. Let's jump inside. All right, before we jump inside, part of that Lincoln luxury is the handles, all 4 handles, and of course the rear lift gate. When you have the key, you can unlock these. So, and then just the grooves up top to lock, similar to our new style on the Mazda, but all 4 doors can do this. Now, when you look inside, some of the styling, of course, is a little upscale or designed to be. So you have this nice, intricate door card with your soft touch materials here on the armrest, a little bit different design of a speaker grill there, and of course right here. And so just everything's kind of flowing in off of this dash. And of course, with the Corsair, or the Corse theme, it's really designed to be like a cockpit, and we'll see that in just a minute as we step inside. Also, I mentioned before, this was a little bit wider than the CX-5. However, what they've done to free up some space, instead of having to reach down here to position your power seats as the doors shut, they put them right up here. So this one, being the standard model, does have just a forward back and forth, up and down over here on the driver's seat, and your lumbar with 3 memory seat positions as well. And then of course all of your window switches, your mirrors, and locks are right there. So you can see this is a very different styled seat, very luxury based, and you have these little, what I kind of refer to as wings here to fit you in on these bolsters. The ultimate design, and you can kind of see that over here on this passenger seat, is they do have an upgraded multi-contour seat, or perfect position seat, with where all of these move, and you have several different bladders in here to get you know, the perfect position. So they still have the same shells, and then have this design here with these that kind of flare out. As I mentioned, all perforated. Those perfect position seats would, you know, move in your thigh extensions and stuff like this. But this is a very comfortable seat, as you can see, very forgiving and cushy. And all that has to do with the Lincoln feel and the Lincoln ride. And I'll put those seats up before we get to the back in just a moment. So definitely have to crank this up for you to experience a little bit more of that Lincoln embrace. So we've got our push button start right here. Crank it up. And those sounds are actually from the Detroit Symphony, Philharmonic Symphony. And again, this was carried over from the, those sounds were carried over from the Aviator. And you can see you have a big display screen right up here, your tachometer and speedo on the side, and you can get all the information Also, just kind of a standard style or size screen compared to some of the other Lincolns, but it is kind of a floating screen design with these different textures and elements that go around behind it and tie in on both sides of the dash. And again, just scaling it up a little bit more premium, a little bit more luxury. Lincoln was the first to go to these piano key gear shift designs. So in years past, they would either have, you know, a shifter or push buttons on the side, but now it's just a piano key. So just a quick down, and you can hear those different sounds there, reminding me that the door's ajar and things like that. This is part of that convenience package upgrades to the navigation. And so you have that. So it's not standard on this Standard, but you can upgrade to that. Also, you get the heated and ventilated seats with the Elements package, and also a heated steering wheel. So this, for an entry level around $40,000, you can upgrade a lot. Now, speaking of the steering wheel, and I'll try to get a little bit wider here if possible, you see how it's really designed to be user-friendly. You know, Mazda talks about sound pollution a lot, the right sounds in, the wrong sounds. Well, this is kind of more busyness or light pollution. So the first thing I'll talk about is this push to talk button right here, or voice activation is right here where you'd be at like a 10 and 2 position. Just hit that, or even a 9 and 3, just reach up here and hit that for your voice activation. But also, all of these are just lit in different areas. So the first thing that you notice is that this is our kind of our right side is for the display up here. So if I hit OK, you can see when I get to open, it changes. Well, then I can toggle down, and it just removes the options that aren't available for this. So I can go back to this, and I can hit this different screen, or I can hit that different screen when I toggle up or down to show. Of course, there's no phone connected. And if I go up, it says, hey, where do you want to go? Different destinations. So it gives you several different options. And you can see when you're going back and forth, I can just hit this home button right here, and it takes me back to home. Or I can go through this menu button, which wasn't lit up just a minute ago, to choose which screen I want. They do have a calm screen, so I can clean out all that information just to calm. But here's where the magic happens as well. Cruise control right here, boom, lights up. Again, less light pollution, more pleasing on the eyes. And then your controls are back here for these. So when I turn it off, they're gone. So I love that design, first seen in the Aviator. I think that's about all inside. Of course, you can upgrade to a panoramic roof with another package here on this Standard, and it'll also upgrade the tires to 19-inch. But this is a fairly well-equipped Standard, and on this 101A, it is actual leather. So they have a soft touch material, synthetic leather that's standard, but this one you upgrade to full leather, so genuine leather. But you can see kind of how this is set up here, just to be kind of at your service here and located. You also have USB-A and USB-C available, plus a 12-volt. And the drive modes are pretty crazy. There's 5 drive modes here. Of course, electronic park and brake, auto hold, auto stop and start. You also have a couple different controls here. I can toggle to my backup camera, because this one has a backup camera only instead of a 360. If so, I could toggle back and forth through all those different. This one has navigate to parking, so I can go to those certain locations there. All these hot buttons just right at your quick touch here, so different parking areas here close to me. This is also where in an upgraded vehicles where it could park itself. So all types of different things available, but on this price point in this model, a lot of neat things. Of course, you also have this nice little 2-tiered design of a console, and this can kind of get out of the way here, but nice armrest, big thick armrest, very comfortable. All right, well, let's put these seats up and jump in the back. All right, looking at the back seat here, you see the same design with the perforations, same elements here designed in, of course, 3-point connections here with seat belts. You also have this little handle here that's a recline. I'll show you that in just a minute. And then part of this design right here on these shells is you do have a little cargo area in both. Part of that elements package in the 101A upgrades the heated rear seat, so the outboard. Then you have some power here, which is a USB-A and USB-C. And nice little LED accents up here. Of course, you can turn those on or off, but they're on with the door, so plenty of visibility. You see all these little speakers up here around. That's your microphone there. These are actually designed to sample the noise of the cabin to monitor, you know, the road noise. So you've got one back here in the back, and just make sure that everything's where it needs to be. And I want to show you this armrest, and then I'll fold the seat down. So it's just your traditional armrest, 2 cup holders, comes down, and not really much to brag about there on the standard model. But so just to give you a little bit, I guess I can show you here. So I'm gonna grab this lever, and pretty comfortable back here. So as far as interior space compared to the CX-5, this one, as I mentioned, was about a 2-inch wider vehicle. However, the hip room and the front leg room and stuff like that is very comparable to the CX-5. Matter of fact, the CX-5 may actually be a little bit more hip room. So they, you know, different trim pieces and different setups here have kind of taken up some of that space. Probably a little bit wider door for more sound dampening material and things like that. But when you're talking about being in the back seat, look how much room I have right here to slide my foot underneath. And I was pretty comfortable on that seat up front, but when you recline back this far, it's really comfortable for a long trip. So again, you can come up and still pretty good headroom up here, or go all the way back. I made it sit here for a while, but let's go next door and talk about the CX-5. Okay, again, for the sake of the overall length of this video, I'm gonna be pretty quick on the inside. We're real familiar with the interior of the Premium and Premium Plus. So this is a parchment interior, full leather, of course, with perforations, heated and ventilated seats. So very similar to that $40,000 price point Lincoln. This one actually has a little bit more, such as the active driving display. We know that the navigation is not standard or available on this without a nav card. So not from the factory, more of an accessory. A couple of things, the same steering wheel that we've been used to. The one thing that I will mention, the Corsair does have lane keep assist and automatic emergency braking. It does not have adaptive cruise. That's something available on other models. So that is one benefit with all your Mazdas. You get the full iActive Sense Suite standard. And you can see just, you know, different layouts here. Of course, we have the commander control non-touch available here. And as we'll skip the back seat, but we know the level of comfort there, and you have the 2-tiered back. As far as recline, you can lean that back just about a ½ inch more. And we do have a moonroof that's standard on this model. So a lot of good things going for the CX-5. Upgraded Bose sound, standard Lincoln sound, things like that. And if you want more information on this interior, just check up in the cards. We have a full breakdown of this vehicle. Now let's go outside and wrap it up, and we'll talk about the drive. All right, our sun's going away, but as I was talking about, the Mazda does have a full iActive Sense safety suite, where the Lincoln does have those items that are most desired as far as the lane departure up top with the camera, and the automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection and things like that. However, it does not have the adaptive cruise, which is more of a convenient item that you have to add on for that. Lincoln, however, has been more proactive with, you know, in some of their other models and newer models, blue zones with, you know, potential hands-free driving and more lane centering available on these vehicles with their Copilot 360 Plus and upgrades on other models. The Mazda, though, just about any Mazda you get is going to have the full iActive suite with the adaptive cruise. But the big thing I want to talk about in closing here is the drive. Now, the Lincoln does have great performance, great torque. Both of them you can tow 2,000 pounds with, of course, the correct accessories or apparatus added on the back with the tow hitch. The Lincoln, of course, is designed for more luxury, more comfort. So it's going to be more of a float feel, very loose suspension, very soft rubber tires. So the sound is going to be, just like you're coasting down the road. And if you can think about the old town cars and just cruising up and down the road, that's what Lincoln continues to want their drivers, owners, and passengers to experience. The Mazda, on the other hand, is going to be a tighter suspension, a more responsive feel, and although it has less, and this 8-speed, this 6-speed, has less gears and less horsepower, it actually gives the appearance of a quicker get-up-and-go feel in natural motion. So instead of, naturally, if you stomped on the gas, this would get going a lot faster, but the Mazda has that more responsive feel. And when you talk about all traction areas with all-wheel drive, you talk about G Vectoring Control Plus, all of these things designed to make the driver less fatigued and a better overall experience. It's almost night and day. I don't have a favorite out of these two. I probably do personally prefer the Mazda over the Lincoln. However, this is a great vehicle and a very, very comfortable ride. So it just depends on what you're looking for. And they're both great vehicles. Again, the pricing difference, this one is just a little over $40,000 for the amenities that we talked about. This is a standard model, so you do have a standard reserve available. Then Black Label will be your top model. This one, of course, the Premium Plus, is 6th out of 8, and it's right at $36,000. So more amenities, but you're not getting the Lincoln nameplate. So it really just depends. One thing I didn't talk about was warranty. The Lincoln has a 4-year, 50,000-mile comprehensive and 6-year or 70,000-mile powertrain. The Mazda, of course, has a 3-year, 36,000-mile comprehensive and a 5-year, 60 powertrain. Mazda has roadside assistance. Lincoln has their pickup and delivery service with concierge, so you can always be connected and pickup and delivery if you have any issues like that. They will actually, just like the roadside assistance, come and tow your vehicle in if necessary. So you choose. Comment down below what your favorite is from this this comparison here, or if you have any more questions about the Lincoln or the Mazda, drop them down below and we'll have a conversation about it. I'm Jonathan Sewell, sales at Mitchell Mazda and Mitchell Lincoln on the Boulevard in Enterprise. And I really can't wait to see you in either one of these, because I can help you with both of them. Whether you want the sportier feel of the Mazda or the Lincoln Luxury. They're beautiful.
More garbage.